Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. Got a great show here today. We got top shelf here. Good friend of mine. I can say he's a good friend, and we have a lot in common. He's a former police officer. I'm a former police officer. And my guest today, I guess, one of the most experienced legislators, policemen, all-around good guy, community man. And he is going to, you don't use the word retirement. He's just going to step back, bob and weave, and then come back punching, okay? So that's my man. And before I introduce my guest, I just want to wish the United States Marine Corps happy birthday.
Yes, sir.
From the halls of Montezuma. That's all right. I don't know all of it right, okay? Now, Mike Vereb, weighing 201 pounds.
Thanks for the compliment.
West Norton, Harrisburg, Washington. I don't know about that. But Mike Vereb is a former police officer, former commissioner or whatever they call it in West Norton, which my grandson is a police officer in West Norton, Anthony Morano. Very proud that he followed the career that I laid the foundation for him, you know. It's a great town.
To the DNA.
He is the state representative in the 150th district. Now, you were first elected to this position as state legislator. What year?
2006. But we gotta order your program here. It's your birthday.
Oh,
93 years old.
93. Oh my God.
And you're still bobbing and weaving.
Oh,
and you're
man.
still the rock. And
you know what? I was born in Brooklyn, New York, on a Friday afternoon. Say, well, why Friday? Because my mother wanted to eat some fish, and you couldn't eat meat on Friday. And in Brooklyn, my father said, went to the fish store, and he had to walk. He had no car. He walked, and by the time he got back, my mom, I was bored, and my mother said, you eat the fish. So I enjoyed it last night with my family, and I'm in pretty good shape. Somebody up there likes me, you know, and I'm going to do everything to help myself and help other people. So now,
we were elected in 2006 to the state legislature.
I want to thank you and Bradford for making it official. I'm the only ambassador. I checked it. No ambassador in Pennsylvania, none in the United States.
No,
So,
we recognize you in Harrisburg for being the only one.
I know.
See, we do some good things in Harrisburg. It's not always bad, right? So, but no.
Well, now tell me now, you have such a, you have all the experience. You've been a policeman. You've been a legislator, and you had training in policemen. You have making laws, enforcing laws. So you have a great, you know, they say get an education, training, and experience. You got the whole three. So you're going to just bob and weave and move in. And what are some of the things you're so proud of?
Well, first of all, I'm proud of being back here. I mean, I live obviously right out, not obviously, but I live right outside the high school complex here. And I'm just proud to be back here. It's kind of my swan song to elected politics, meaning I'm getting ready to switch gears here. And, you know, we've accomplished a lot, Hank, and we've accomplished a lot right out of this school district, of the Norristown Area School District. You know, just the other day, it was election day, and Dr. Samuels and I just hugged each other outside the polls. She was here for work. I was here for elections. And we recognize just what we've done. We've done the Basic Education Funding Formula Commission, which I co-chaired. And for the first time in a long time, Harrisburg did something in a bipartisan way and over two governors. And we have this product now that really helps school districts like Norristown. Too many times, Harrisburg has been feeding the smaller districts because they could not afford to flourish because they did not have the community size. Now, as those schools have grown, they still get that extra money.
Are they merging like?
Not merging, they're just growing. The areas are developing.
Oh, okay.
So we feel like this formula now, you know, while those communities were growing, they were getting much more money per student than our kids here in the Norristown School District. And that was something that I am so proud of. I know that Dr. Samuels and Ann Rourke, the business administrator, were part of. And I'm just excited to be back here. That was one of the biggest accomplishments. Hank, a lot of law enforcement stuff we'll talk about here that we got done. But at the end of the day, that Basic Education Funding Formula Commission, it was, as you understand the term, it was out of my wheelhouse. Education and dealing with the educational minutia was not in my wheelhouse. So I took a year and a half and co-chaired this, and was very excited with the end product. And we got it signed into law before I'm leaving office.
That's
here.
great. Well, you know, I'm glad that you're so involved with helping in education, because I think that's so important. I know myself, I was an 8th grade dropout, and I got on the police department with an 8th grade education then in 1951. That's all you needed.
Well, Hank, I mean, the other thing you and I have in common, and the other thing our children need, are programs like PAL.
Yeah.
Okay, you bobbed and weaved and knocked people out. I knocked myself out on the dirt bike. But these programs, we really need to make sure from the morning our children wake up until the moment in which they go to bed, that we are keeping them busy, that we are making their brain work on all different issues, not just sitting in a classroom, but as you brought up a quote to me ahead of time, right, about when to fight out in the field, not in the locker room.
Right. Don't lose a fight in the dressing room. Get in there.
Right. So we you know, I think it's very important, and you and I both, we're just a few years apart, and I thank you for saying I'm
only 200 years.
I thank you for saying I'm only 201 pounds. I'm gonna mark that down.
Well,
but
I want to talk another thing too. Great friend. We have another guy that's a real good friend of both of us, and you remember him, right? Where is it?
I know where you're going.
Here it is.
There he is. Yep.
Right?
The mayor, the commissioner, the mayor, yes.
Great. That's hanging in your office. And this is some pictures, 23 police officers that I was with, you know, and I was just a rookie. I'm way over here. You know, I got another one here.
I'm going to look for the best looking guy here.
This is my TV show. I want you to put this there in your office in Washington, and the Hank Cisco show. And then here another one. If anybody in Washington says, who's Hank Cisco? Say, I'm the only guy that threw Muhammad Ali out of the ring, okay? I was refereeing a fight down in there.
I like the tie.
This is my brother Tony, myself, and I was fighting. I was amateur and he was professional. And he fought 3 world champions, but you didn't have the right manager at the right time. That's why I say if you want to walk on water, you got to know where the rocks are.
You got to know where the rocks are.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, what is one of the greatest, I'll call it greatest, your accomplishment? What you feel that you did something to help somebody? You know, you know, there's nothing nice when you help somebody. It's a feeling when you walk away, you know.
Well, I can tell you this. I think the most important thing in my political career is I've never forgot that I'm just this young man from Arden Drive in West Norriton Township. And, you know, I think that the most important accomplishment I feel in my 10 years in the House was to listen. Now, we've learned from this last election how divided we are. And that division, I feel, is driven by the media and is driven by people's inability to just listen and respect the opinion of others. And, you know, I feel I've held that. I think I've been commended for that by many constituents. It's the warmest comment you can ever receive is from someone from an opposing party or on the other side of an issue of you who respects you for your debate and your accomplishments. So as I get through, you know, I have 7 bills that have been signed into law by 2 different governors in 10 years. That is a big accomplishment. A piece of legislation doesn't get done quickly. It just doesn't happen. You know, good soup put in a microwave is ruined, right? So the longer brewed soup is always better, and that's how legislation works. That's because when we pass laws, while we think we are fixing something here in Norristown or West Norriton or East Norriton, we actually might be hurting someone else, you know, with the way that bill is worked. So it really takes a lot of hard work. And I'm proud of the amount of bills, which we'll talk about a few of them as we move on here. But I'm proud of how we got them done, and we built great coalitions, you know, from different groups, whether it's the teachers, whether it's Power, which is a group, basically a faith-based group fighting for community. I'm not going to say justice, but community reform. And I think that I'm very excited to have been part of all that. Pre-K Counts program, which I was the first Republican in the area to stand with Governor Rendell staff down at Marshall Street Elementary School. Again,
Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie, but at the end of the day, here's our goal. When the sun comes up, our kids have to be busy. And when the sun goes down, they have to be busy, whether it's in school, pre-K. We have found, studies have shown that the quicker we get kids into a constructive environment of school, the better the test scores are as they get older.
Yeah, well, you know, education is so important, and I'm glad that you're, you know, 100% for that, and you've been doing that while you're up in Harrisburg. And I mentioned here, I'm in Northtown High School studio here, and I'm just telling, I say, over-repeating that come to school, get that education. Don't fool around. You're here so many hours, get that education, because, you know, it's hard to get it after you leave school. You get married, you got kids and all, and it's hard to go. That's what happened to me. I dropped out when I was eighth grade. Then I put 14 years in the police department, and somebody whispered in my ear, you better get an education when you leave the police department. And I did. And I took the GED, and I got a community college. I got an associate degree in my back pocket. And I'm so proud. And for me, an 8th grade dropout, Dr. Stout, former president of Montgomery County, I interviewed her 3 weeks before she left. And here it is. I got a couple of weeks before you leave. I'm interviewing you, and I just got a communication from the new president of Montgomery County Community College. It's going to come on my show. Well, I think education is so important, you know.
And they do a great job. Dr. Stout was awesome.
Oh,
the chair of that
great.
board is Michael Daniello. He's a very good friend of mine. What has happened in that community college is great. What has happened in our vocational education program is growing and is great. And I think what's happening in our schools now with this new formula to get money here for our administrators to be able to spend. I mean, the goal here is to educate our children, right? And once they get out of school and realize they should have done differently in high school, it's some cases it's too late. So we want to make sure we start that conversation now and make sure people understand, you know, when you leave here, you just don't get on your iPhone and hit a nap and your world problems are fixed. You have to know how to do basic things in life, and that's why we think the educational issues are so important.
You know, you're a legislator, right? You're still a legislator until the 30th, right?
November 30th.
You go to Harrisburg. How many legislators do you sit with in that big room? How many?
203.
And how do you get to be, you know, recognized or, you know, I don't know how do you put it?
Well, I mean, what, to address the body? How do you, same way you do in class. You raise your hand, the speaker's mace bearer puts you on a list, and if there's no one on the list, then the speaker pauses to recognize you. But again, where education comes into play with being in the House, you don't need to be a Yale graduate to be a legislator. I'm not I'm a Montgomery County Community College graduate. What you need to do, though, is understand, and my wife always accuses me, as my mom did, I make a short story long easily, but the reality of it is you need to get your point across. And Hank, you need to understand, in Pennsylvania, I mean, we have a diverse state by nationality. Better yet, we have a diverse state by geography. I was up through this state, you know, put over 2,000 miles in the last 10 days of this election cycle, and the fall foliage in all those mountain regions
right?
is just, you'd never realize you were in Pennsylvania. You thought you were on some vacation somewhere. Yeah. So we have great challenges. And I think when you're speaking, you're going to represent your area. But how do you convince somebody to support you? You recognize what they're going through in their area. So,
and then you sort of hook up with other guys, so how can I say it? Maybe you want to create or get power to be able to push something. Like if you want to, you need, what is it? You get other guys to sign your bill.
You get co-sponsors, Hank, but you do what you and I did and many other people do. You respect other people regarding what life they've walked into that chamber from. And one of my best friends is a Democrat, Dom Costa. Dom is a former police chief in Pittsburgh. He's walking around
What's his name?
Dom Costa, and he has a bullet in the bottom of his skull from when he was shot on duty.
Wow.
And you take advantage, whether it's the what they call the Black Caucus, which are largely represented in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. You know, you have to recognize that every person in that room ran for office and got one more vote than their opponent, and you're all equal, regardless of what color you are or nationality you are,
religion,
regardless of how good you can bob and weave.
Right.
At the end of the day, we are all equally united, including the speaker. The speaker becomes a speaker because of his peers that vote for him. So
people vote him in.
you don't get voted in the election box. All the representatives go, and then we'll
You
have
campaign. You campaign. Say, well, I'm from, some counties have maybe one representative for three counties up there.
Sure. So because we are so tightly populated, in such dense population here, there's more reps than senators. But there are representatives upstate that have 3 counties, literally offices an hour and a half, 2 hours apart. So imagine having an office here and an office in Harrisburg for your legislative district. And that's what people are faced with up there. You go through multiple counties to do that. And that's why I say we are a very diverse state. We know in this region, we know inner city life, we know suburbs, we know mass transit.
And you have it right at your fingertips.
And it's all at your fingertips. They just got the internet a few years ago in most of those areas, or cable TV, I should say, in most of those areas. In Punxsutawney, for example, where the groundhog's from. You know, one of my best friends, the former Speaker Sam Smith. You know, it was a few years ago when they finally received cable up there. So that's kind of where we are. Yeah, it's a very diverse
All right,
state.
now your district, you used to be Norristown, but you're not Norristown no more?
I had 4 precincts in Norristown, Marshall Street South, and then down to Arch Street.
You had some Norristown?
I did, and then after reapportionment, I lost it. So basically, I still have half of West Norriton, all of Lower Providence, all of Skipback, part of Upper Providence. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, who's taking your? Who's new guy just got elected?
Michael Core.
Core.
Yes.
Get him on my show.
I'll get him on your show.
Yeah. Is he a nice guy? Is he?
He seems like a very nice man.
What's he do for a living?
He's a great family guy. He's got a financial background, but he also knows I'm going to be breathing down his neck on law enforcement issues. He's going to know you. He's going to know you.
All right. I like to have him on here.
We'll get him on.
Yeah.
We'll get him on for you.
And now this election, you jumped in both feet at the very beginning.
I did.
Tell me some experiences now. What you've experienced, who you've met, and all.
Well, I met everybody. Everybody that was on that stage the other night when President-elect Trump introduced everybody. I met everyone, and I drove mostly everyone, except for Mr. Trump and Governor Pence. I've had a great relationship with Governor Pence.
Yeah, he seems like a real nice guy. He got a haircut in Norristown.
Well, I brought him there.
Oh, yeah?
I brought him there, and it was a surprise visit. The barber did not know who he was because I didn't tell him who he was.
Why did you bring him to the Columbus Monument?
Well, because the Secret Service, well, hey, Rock, look, the Secret Service only lets you go so far. But it's been a rewarding experience because, you know, if I would have woke up the next day and Hillary was president, I'd have been mad too. But we as a nation need to unite. And I will tell you, in my interactions with the entire Trump family, everyone. I drove his young daughter around. I drove Tiffany around. I've driven Laura around.
Up with Giuliani.
I had Rudy on Monday. I had
He's
Rudy
my
the
man.
week
His
before.
father was a boxer, you know.
I wish I would have.
You got to read his book.
He gave me a copy of his book, and I will tell you,
Every chief of police should read that book.
Well, I had Rudy in the car, the mayor. As you know, we started at the airport in Philadelphia, worked our way to Collegeville Bakery, and then we went to C.J. Santangelo's place. C.J.'s father, you remember Charlie Santangelo, was a worshiper of Rudy Giuliani, and C.J. really teared up. He had 250 people there. We left there. We went up into Hazleton, and then we got the mayor to see Mr. Trump at the rally that night. So it's been in Hazleton, and then to Scranton, which is where the rally was. Great experience with great people. And I know people feel differently, but here's the bottom line. We as a nation must stop.
Right.
We have to let police do their jobs, but we also have to listen to our communities and the struggles. And I think that Donald Trump He's going to do the things he has to do for the inner city. He's done it. He's got a track record of it,
Well,
I was very happy to be involved.
I think he's surrounding himself with a bunch of good people. Now, what's this here, Senator Sesson? I was in out west with at a conference, and he was one of the speakers, and I met him. I got a picture with him. I said, Governor. So he looked at me and he says, "Are you a hitman?" You know?
Yeah,
But, he's a real nice guy, and he surrounds himself with good people. That's what look.
You're not going to find a more faithful, compassionate person than Governor Huckabee. I had Governor Huckabee the other day for a few hours.
Oh my God, he's a nice guy.
Governor Rick Perry from down in Texas, and then a person who's become a good friend. He's invited me to the residence to have a meal, but it's in Mississippi. Is Governor Phil Bryant, and he just said, "Mike, this is
who's that?
Governor Phil Bryant."
Oh yeah.
And in his southern drawl, he says, "Mike, I just want to tell you, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed your driving, and I'd like you to come to Mississippi and have dinner with me." Well, it sounds great, but I don't know how I'm not driving to Mississippi, so. But it's been
You
a
should
great.
have shook him up and say, "Well, I'm going to get my license next week."
Yeah, after the end of the day of driving it. But Hank, it's been a very great experience meeting a diverse group of people, meeting a lot of the women that are employed, both African American and other minorities that are employed by the Trump organization, and his helicopter pilots. You know, you always look. Those pilots know everything about Mr. Trump, and it should say it all when they were waiting in line to go to rallies for Mr. Trump. His own pilot. So it's an exciting opportunity. I know people are upset that he was elected, but I'm going to do everything I can to help.
I think today Trump is going to meet with the president, and I think this is one opportunity. This is one time where the president of the United States could really get people together and show Trump and all the people that don't like the fact that he won, but it's an opportunity for him to get everybody together, because right now they're having problems. The guy's mad about this, but you got these young college kids, you know, that maybe ought to cut their fee, you know.
Well, we don't want to do that though, Hank. But you know,
I got to do something. They're burning the flags. They're doing things that the anti-American.
Well, they're anti-American, and perhaps they're just not educated the way that we want our kids educated.
I'm paying their wages to go to school, get an education to help build the United States education. We got the best education system in the world.
Well, that's why history in high school is very important. I know we have a question from the audience about what's it take to be a legislator for our students.
Right.
I think it's time for our students to engage, and not engage in hatred, but engage in how can I help be part of the fix. And anyone over 18 years old can run for office. I do not have a bachelor's degree. I'm not a top tier school graduate. I am a Montgomery County community college educated kid who went to school at night and worked as a mall security officer during the day and became a cop. And it does not just for the kids in our school district. They need to understand you can easily achieve this, any goal in your life, if you just set a direction, stay in your lane, and be ever embracing in what you're doing. There's so much room. Hank, it's so easy to hate, and it's so easy to ridicule, but it's harder to lead, and it's harder to kind of stay in your lane and try to get people to follow. And that's really what our country is lacking and starving for. These kids down at college that I saw, my son happens to be in, they're not protesting, but they're burning flags and they're doing all this craziness. And what are they accomplishing? Nothing.
Nothing.
But again, the media is following this nonsense instead of talking about the issues of uniting our country.
They should. All right, here's another question from the audience. You read it.
What is my message to future voters? And I appreciate that. I appreciate that question. My message to future voters and current voters is this. We need as an electorate to stop allowing the media to dictate how we're going to get in our car in the morning. And that's both sides. That's CNN, that's Fox. You know, when you look at our local media, good old Jim Gardner and Action News, and you know, he does not editorialize. As an electorate, We want facts, right?
Yeah,
if there was
yeah.
a fire, we want to know there's a fire and what the
right,
cause was.
right.
We don't need political slants.
Report the news, don't make the news.
Don't make the news, and by the way, don't try to alter the news and
Right.
alter that message. We have enough things going on, and as our good friend Stan Husky knows, you know, Stan has really tried to focus on the positive, whether it's the theater, whether it's the zoo, whether it's POW, whatever those events are.
the
That's
zoo.
what our media should be. Look, Stan does what our media should be doing, and that is growing up or stewing up the messages. The images of Norristown, if you go by the media in some cases, are horrible. But there you have PAL, you have the Columbus Monument, you have one of the most beautiful zoos in the country right here in Norristown Borough, Norristown Municipality, competing with Philadelphia.
Yeah. Stan Husky, you know, here's my Tennessee guy. And he coordinated with Al Zone at the zoo to help and join with the Columbus Monument to make it a tourist, you know, display.
Attraction, sure.
And Pat Mascara is also joining in. And I'm so happy that they're going to make it more of a, you know, something education somehow. So they're going to work it out.
But why does Pat Mascara step in? Because he believes in the people that are doing
does,
something.
yeah,
He's
right.
not going to look. Pat Mascara is not a wealthy man and a wealthy family because he makes bad decisions. He makes good decisions, and we thank him for everything he does.
Right. All right, the last question, and we got about 35 seconds. What is your next move? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? I have several options that I'm looking at. I really want to get back into the criminal
You don't want to be the
justice
coach
field.
of the Eagles or anything?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to get back into do my part back in the criminal justice system, not as an arrestee, but either from a criminal justice policy and recidivism issues. Look, to say that I have not been contacted by the transition team, the Trump transition team, that would be a lie. They have reached out. I'll be down in D.C.
Yeah, they got
I'll
their
be
own-
down in D.C. But I don't know what is out there, or if I will stay local and be involved in criminal justice, and that's just where we are. And
How
by the
about-
way,
how about
whatever.
county commissioner?
No. Wherever I go and whatever I do, I will not forget that I'm just this young man from Arden Drive in West Arden Township.
Well, I'm in your corner. I'm in your corner. Left hand high, stick and move, and keep your trunks off the canvas. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great half hour here with my friend, and he is what I say, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He has it all. And I just wish, God bless you, that you continue on. And as the Cowboys say, happy trails.
Well, I thank you, Hank, for everything. I thank the students for this program,
And
and I thank the voters.
And I want to give my words of wisdom. Watch that man that's patting you on the back. He's looking for a soft spot to stick the knife.
No, we've been down that road.
There's
Yes.
a lot of little things here. Take them with you. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing us to come into your home. And this show will be shown on Comcast and Verizon Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Verizon 45, Comcast 28, and YouTube. You'll see some. This will go, if you got a Gumbadi in Italy or South America or whatever, just tell them, Hank Cisco, YouTube, Mike Vereb. Bow! Mike, thank you so much.
Happy
and
birthday.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and may God bless each and every one of you. Adios, amigos, for my Gumbadi friends. All right? All right, let's sing it. Right. Well, happy birthday, United States Marines. From the halls of Montezuma to the... Hey, right, Rock?